The young and the restless spoilers the tangled web of desires, a new chapter in the drama of love and betrayal in the ever-turbulent world of Genoa City, where secrets and scandals are as common as the morning sun. A new chapter unfolds, one that ties together hearts and fuels the flames of forbidden passion. At the center of this whirlwind stand Nikki and Jack, whose relationship, though blossoming with warmth and sincerity, has quickly become a lightning rod for controversy. It began on a quiet autumn evening when Nikki, with her eyes filled with both hope and sorrow, invited Jack to a secluded corner of a lavish garden party. Under the glow of softly lit lanterns, Nikki opened her heart and recounted the poignant, bittersweet saga of her family, a story laced with hardship, resilience, and the longing for acceptance. As her words flowed like a delicate melody, Jack felt an unexpected surge of empathy and admiration. Here was a woman whose vulnerability and courage shone through, inviting him to share in her burdens and, perhaps, to help lighten them. Jack's response was immediate and sincere. The protective walls he had long built around his heart began to crumble under the weight of Nikki's honesty. In that intimate moment, he realized that her willingness to expose the darkest corners of her past was not merely an act of trust, it was a plea for a connection that transcended superficiality. Their bond deepened with every shared secret, and for a fleeting time, the chaos of their world seemed to recede into the background. Yet, no union in Genoa City comes without its share of adversaries. Victor and Diane, two figures whose authority and influence loomed large over every facet of life in the city, could not stand idly by as this foolish, crazy relationship took root. With voices laced with anger and eyes burning with disapproval, they set out to dismantle what they deemed an unworthy union. Every meeting, every whispered conversation in the hallowed halls of power, revolved around a singular aim: to prevent Nikki and Jack from growing closer. Despite their relentless efforts, an endless barrage of warnings, interventions, and even subtle manipulations, fate had other plans. The couple's connection, born of vulnerability and authenticity, proved impervious to even the most calculated attempts at separation. As gossip began to swirl through the corridors of high society, whispers turned into unsettling questions. Could it be that Nikki was, in fact, having an affair with Jack? Was their intimacy merely a mask for something far more scandalous? Despite the rampant speculation, no one dared to speak the truth aloud. The ambiguity of their situation only served to fan the flames of intrigue, leaving friends and foes alike suspended in a state of tantalizing uncertainty. Meanwhile, a parallel storm was gathering on another front, a storm that threatened to shatter the already fragile equilibrium of love and loyalty. Nick, a man known for his unwavering sense of honor and justice, issued a stern warning to Kyle. With a tone as cold and unforgiving as the winter wind, Nick declared that if Kyle continued to inflict pain and wear down Summer's spirit, there would be dire consequences. "If you persist in causing Summer such misery," Nick warned, his eyes glinting with barely restrained fury, "I will not forgive you. You will face retribution, whether through force or through the relentless pursuit of justice." The warning was clear: Kyle's actions had reached a breaking point, and the scales of retribution were already tipping. But the drama did not end there. Victoria, ever the arbiter of hard truths, added another layer of complexity to Kyle's predicament. With a voice as resolute as it was unyielding, she informed him that he could not possibly find happiness while straddling the affections of two women. "Kyle," she chided, "you must choose one or the other. You cannot be content with both, for the hearts of Summer and Claire demand honesty, and only one of you can bear the weight of their love." This ultimatum struck Kyle like a bolt of lightning. Torn between the persistent advances of Summer, whose relentless pursuit of his affection bordered on obsession, and the bitter enmity that had developed between him and Claire, Kyle found himself trapped in a vicious cycle of guilt, resentment, and indecision. Summer, a woman whose passion was as fierce as it was unwarranted, continued to chase Kyle with a single-minded determination. Despite the fact that Kyle's heart harbored no true affection for her, she remained undeterred, convinced that her pursuit would eventually triumph over his indifference. Every unsolicited call, every unexpected visit, served as a painful reminder to Kyle that her love was an uninvited guest in his life, a constant, nagging presence that complicated an already tumultuous existence. In stark contrast, Claire's interactions with Kyle had morphed into an open feud, a bitter rivalry that had escalated into full-blown enmity. Their every encounter crackled with animosity, as if the very air between them was charged with unresolved conflicts and past betrayals. The tension between Claire and Kyle was palpable, a simmering cauldron of hurt and anger that threatened to boil over at any moment. As the days turned into nights and the nights bled into another series of complicated dawns, the intricate tapestry of relationships in Genoa City grew ever more entangled. Nikki and Jack's newfound closeness continued to blossom despite the disapproval of the powerful, while the specter of infidelity lingered in the shadows, an unspoken doubt that none dared to confirm but everyone felt. Meanwhile, Nick's stern warning to Kyle and Victoria's uncompromising ultimatum further underscored the high stakes at play, revealing the brutal consequences of divided loyalties and unhealed wounds. In the midst of this chaos, Kyle found himself at a crossroads. His heart, a battleground of conflicting emotions, throbbed with the weight of impossible choices. Each day brought with it a renewed struggle, a desperate search for a semblance of peace amid the storm of expectations and resentments. Caught between the unyielding pursuit of a love he did not reciprocate and the bitter enmity that seemed to define his every interaction with Claire, Kyle's path forward was shrouded in uncertainty. In moments of solitude, when the cacophony of demands and accusations subsided into a haunting silence, Kyle was forced to confront the painful truth of his own existence. The endless cycle of chasing Summer's elusive affection, coupled with the ceaseless friction with Claire, left him questioning his own worth and his ability to ever find genuine happiness. The relentless pressure to choose, to hurt one in order to satisfy the other, gnawed at his soul. Yet, in the depth of his despair, there remained a flicker of determination, a small, stubborn hope that one day, clarity might emerge from the mire of deceit and desire. As the drama reached its crescendo, the characters of Genoa City stood at the precipice of change. Each had been molded by the inexorable forces of love, betrayal, and retribution. Nikki and Jack, despite the storm of scandal swirling around them, continued to carve out moments of tenderness and truth. Victor and Diane, though their fury had failed to stem the tide, remained determined to reclaim control over the narrative of their lives. And Nick, with his unwavering moral compass, prepared to unleash a storm of retribution on Kyle should he fail to mend the wounds he had so callously inflicted. In this realm where every secret threatens to unravel the delicate balance of power, where every whispered rumor carries the potential to ignite a firestorm, one thing remains indisputable: the road to redemption is paved with heartbreak and hard choices. As the sun set over Genoa City, casting long shadows on the lives of those entangled in its drama, the promise of a new beginning shimmered on the horizon, an uncertain future where love might one day conquer all, or where the cycle of pain and vengeance might continue unabated. For now, however, the battle lines are drawn. Nikki and Jack embrace their forbidden connection, defiant in the face of overwhelming opposition. Nick's threat to Kyle hangs in the air like a death knell, while Victoria's ultimatum forces a painful reckoning. And amid the chaos, Summer's relentless pursuit and Claire's bitter rivalry with Kyle serve as constant reminders that in this world of intertwined fates, no one is ever truly free from the consequences of love. In this tangled web of desires, betrayal, and unyielding passion, every heart must ultimately choose its own destiny, even if that destiny comes at the cost of love, or through the bitter taste of revenge. Love, betrayal, and the unforgiving truth. The chaos unfolds in Genoa City, in a city where love is fleeting and secrets hold more weight than promises. Sally Spectre found herself walking blindly into the abyss. Phyllis Summers, ever the calculating force in Genoa City, had offered Sally a rare gift, a warning. Be careful with Billy. He will betray you. Sooner or later, they all do. The words lingered in the air, heavy with an unsettling truth that Sally refused to acknowledge. She was in love, blindly, recklessly, and without a single safeguard in place. To her, Billy Abbott was unlike the others. He was different. He saw her for who she was, not for the mistakes of her past, not for the name she carried. But Phyllis knew better. Phyllis had seen love turn to dust, had watched men like Billy weave grand illusions of devotion only to unravel them with deception. Sally dismissed her words as bitter jealousy, as a calculated attempt to tear her down, but deep down, a sliver of doubt began to take root. And Phyllis? She merely watched with a knowing smirk. "You'll see, Sally," she muttered under her breath. "You'll see soon enough." The fatal mistake, Sally's blind love. Sally let herself fall too fast, too hard. She had always been a fighter, always kept her guard up, but this time was different. Billy had convinced her to believe in something real, something lasting. But that was the mistake, wasn't it? Love without defense is a war already lost. The walls she should have built remained absent, leaving her heart exposed and vulnerable. She had willingly stepped into the battlefield unarmed, convinced that this time she wouldn't need protection. She was wrong. There was no room for naivety in Genoa City, and Sally was about to learn that the hard way. Chloe's bombshell, the DNA test that shattered everything while Sally drowned in the depths of love and impending heartbreak, a storm of family destruction brewed elsewhere in Genoa City. Chloe Mitchell, once a confidant and friend, had just detonated a bomb that no one saw coming. With a single DNA test result, she had ripped apart the fragile threads of Chelsea Lawson's family, exposing a truth that sent shockwaves through the lives of everyone involved. At the center of the chaos stood Connor Newman, a boy who had unknowingly become the subject of a truth too dark for his innocence to bear. Was he truly Adam Newman's son? For years it was assumed, no, it was accepted, that Connor was the biological child of Adam Newman. It was a fact never questioned, never doubted. But Chloe had unearthed a truth that shattered that certainty into pieces. She had exposed the test results to the world, forcing Chelsea into a nightmare she wasn't prepared for. Adam's rage was immediate. "Tell me, Chelsea," his voice was a low, dangerous growl. "Tell me this isn't true." Chelsea's eyes filled with panic. She hadn't expected the truth to come out, not like this, not now. She knew the answer before she even opened her mouth. I don't know," she whispered, her voice trembling. But the truth was in the paper, cold and clinical, free from the emotions that now strangled the air between them. Connor was not Adam's son. A silence, heavy and suffocating, fell between them. If Adam wasn't Connor's father, then who was? The father no one expected. As the reality of Connor's true paternity set in, the question hung over them like a guillotine. If not Adam, then who? The possibilities were few but devastating. Chelsea had always been drawn to men who carried both power and danger in their veins. There were only a handful of men who could have fathered Connor, and each possibility held its own catastrophic consequences. Was it Nick? A twisted irony that would bind Connor even deeper into the Newman family. Was it Billy? A truth so horrifying it could obliterate his relationship with Victoria forever. Or worse, was it someone else entirely? Adam's fury burned hotter than ever. He had fought for Connor, had sacrificed everything to be a father to that boy, and now? Now he was nothing to him. "You knew, didn't you?" he accused Chelsea, his voice dark with betrayal. "You've known this entire time." But Chelsea wasn't the only one responsible for this nightmare. Chloe had made sure of that. She had forced the truth into the light. And now, there was no going back. The aftermath, a city on the brink of war. As the dust began to settle from the explosions of love, betrayal, and deception, the landscape of Genoa City was forever changed. Red triangle pointed down. Sally's fate was sealed. Phyllis's warning loomed over her like a dark prophecy. The moment Billy's betrayal came, she would remember those words and curse herself for not listening. Red triangle pointed down. Adam's fury knew no bounds. He had lost his son, lost his faith in Chelsea, lost everything. And someone would pay. Red triangle pointed down. Chelsea stood on the edge of ruin. Her carefully built world was in shambles. The father of her child was no longer the man she thought, and now Connor's future was uncertain. Red triangle pointed down. Chloe had won, but at what cost? She had set the truth free, but in doing so, she had turned lives into ruins. And the biggest question of all remained unanswered: who was Connor's real father? As the city of Genoa trembled under the weight of its latest revelations, one truth became clear: no one in Genoa City is ever truly safe from the past.